All right, hello everybody. Today I wanted to talk about kind of the sport that got me into the outdoors and everything, and that is sporting clays. Um, and kind of this is going to be a little kind of base intro, basic what you need just to get out there and have fun. I'll talk about the gear that I have used over the years and continue to use, little tips and tricks, suggestions on how to get the most out of it. So let's get into it. So to start, a lot of the times when I ask friends who are into the shooting sports or hunting and fishing, and I ask them if they want to go shotgun shooting, they always think we're going to go either skeet shooting or trap, which is a lot of times what you see at the Olympics. Sporting clays is a little bit different. I always describe sporting clays as playing golf with a shotgun. It is shot over a course, generally through the woods, with a bunch of different stands, and each stand has a different target presentation. Sporting clays is designed really to get you used to all the weird and funky shots that you'll take out in the field. So it's never really the same target each stand. Everything from rabbits, which are clays that roll across the ground, which are a lot of fun, very difficult. You have springing teals, which just go straight up and straight down. So there's a lot of variation, which makes it a lot more interesting and captivating than I think trap and skeet, which you see on the Olympic level. So diving into that, sporting clays is seen, it's a little intimidating at first. You walk up to a club, they tend to be pretty nice facilities. You know, they have pro shops that have really nice guns. Everybody's walking around with some pretty nice dedicated sporting clays guns, but you don't need a lot to really get started. I can promise you this, it only takes a gun, some ammunition, and just the will to experience something new for you to get out there and have fun. So with that, what you need is safety gear, pretty self-explanatory with all shooting sports. I like a pair of wrap-around shooting glasses that have replaceable lenses, clear for cloudy days or yellow. I don't have yellow lenses, mine broke. And then you can get tinted lenses for sunnier days. And then I like the Impact Sport electronic earmuffs to hear kind of everybody. If you know I'm with people, you can turn the volume up, and then as soon as the shot rings out, it dampens it. You don't need something that fancy. I've shot sporting clays with just foam earplugs. These are what I like. They do get a little hot in the summer. Here in Wisconsin, it's hot and humid in the summer, so it gets a little toasty. So I will swap out for a pair of rubber in the ear pro, just because I hate the feeling of sweat around my ears. The other thing that you're going to need, obviously, it is a shooting sport, so you are going to need shotgun, and you don't need a fancy shotgun. This is my trusty Remington 870. It is clear, I promise. I've shot dozens of rounds with this. It's a lot of fun. Use what you have. This is a Remington 870 Express Super Magnum. I'm pretty sure it was like $400-ish. Bought back way probably the 2014, 2013 range. Great gun, super reliable, eats pretty much everything. But you don't need a fancy gun to get started in sporting clays. Just use what you have. If you have 870, if you have a Mossberg 500, a Browning VPS, semi-automatic like a A300 from Beretta, you can use pretty much anything. I even do have a friend that used a Panzer Arms M4 clone to shoot it just because he wanted to. Worked great. You can do it. I wouldn't recommend it. The 18-inch barrel on some of those tactical shotguns is not ideal, but it can be done. use what you have, go out, shoot around, see if you like it. If you like it, then maybe invest in something like a field or a sporting gun. You also need, of course, ammo to feed the gun. Ammo is super simple. Any target load works. Generally 7.5 or 8 shot. If you're just starting out, I like 1 ounce loads. It's softer recoiling. It doesn't beat you up too much. I personally shoot 1.25 ounce loads. That's also because I do a lot of wing shooting, so it is the closest to the felt recoil of a field target load, or a field load, sorry. So just grab a box of target loads from the shelf in your Walmart, Cabela's, Bass Pro Shop, wherever you get your ammo from. And then it's not necessary, but I do recommend, just because it helps, especially if you're walking, through the woods. It does take an hour or two, probably closer to 2 hours. I do suggest picking up something to carry your shells in. I've carried shells in everything from an old fly fishing bag that didn't have any compartments. It was just an open kind of shoulder mounted bag. I picked this up at the local Fleet Farm. It was pretty cheap. And I say cheap as in money wise. The quality is from Browning. The quality is great. It hooks right onto your belt right there. And it fits a box of ammo. So you don't really have to carry it around constantly. You can just kind of drop it in. So that helps massively. All right, so we've gone over the basics. So just gun, ear pro, eye pro, something maybe to carry your shells. It helps. It's not necessary, but it helps. Also, wear something comfortable, not loose fitting clothing that will snag when you mount the gun, but just something that's comfortable for you. If it's hot, wear something light. If it's cold, layer. Wear good footwear because you do a lot of walking as well, and then wear a ball cap or something. Now I would like to go over what I like to use and what I've used over the years that has kind of culminated in what I use now, and it's the stuff that I just constantly grab. It's in a bag, so we'll get started on that. So first time that I went shooting I was 16, and pretty much just went out in jeans and a camo hoodie, shot whatever they had. And since then I was hooked, so I have been, over the years, developing gear that I like to use. And one of the first things that I wanted to upgrade was my shotgun. 870 that I used is totally fine. I still bring it out to the range when I want to have some fun. But I have always loved over-unders and side-by-sides, especially because the first time that I did go shooting, I was able to shoot the entire course with a Beretta Silver Pigeon. So I really got into double guns, but still in high school, still in college, I couldn't afford a Beretta Silver Pigeon at the time. But I did find if you are looking to get into double guns, or kind of that classic sporting shotgun for your sporting clays, if you have shot sporting clays before and you want to go down the path a little bit more. I started out with this. This is a CZ Bob White. This is not the G2 that recently came out. This is the original Huglu manufactured CZ Bob White. It's a 28-inch barreled, 3-inch chambered side-by-side, double triggers with the English straight grip stock. It is a lot of fun to shoot. It is a little heavy. It does kind of point like a 2x4, but it is a lot of fun to shoot, especially when people aren't really familiar with shooting break action shotguns. Everybody knows a side-by-side, whether you watch Westerns or anything like that. So everybody loved seeing it come out, so I tend to always bring it. But it just really kind of got me into the classic feel and side of the shotgun sports. So this is the gun that started it all. I am considering replacing the 12 gauge version with maybe a 28 of the G2. We'll see. I've always wanted to shoot sporting clays with a 28 gauge, but this is what I started really consistently going to the sporting clays range with, and it's been a lot of fun. Since then, I kind of upgraded into two guns that are always in the back of the car when I go to the range, and I kind of pick which one I'm feeling of shooting that day. The first one is that Beretta Silver Pigeon, same model that I shot when I first started. This is the Beretta Silver Pigeon Grade 1 with the high gloss stock. It is a 26.5-inch barrel, 3-inch chambering. It fits me like a glove. It is just smooth. Everything is nice and tight. It feels like a quality gun because it's a Beretta. So you really do get what you pay for with these Silver Pigeons. I very much enjoy them. They point instinctively for me. This model does have, and I don't know if all models, this does have an automatic safety on it, which is great when you are at the range because safety is paramount. But if you're in the field and, you shoot both barrels, you quick reload, and then two birds spring very quickly. Sometimes, if you're like me, you do occasionally forget to disengage the safety. But again, in the sporting clays arena, that's not really a big gripe. You also can select which barrel you shoot. The reason why I like to shoot double barrel shotguns for sporting clays is because you do get two different chokes. So I like to keep an improved cylinder and a modified, or if it's later, closer towards the hunting season, I keep an modified and improved modified for that tighter choke pattern, because that's generally what I hunt with. So you do have the ability to select what choke you use. The other gun that I find myself using a lot is actually my wife's. This is a SKB Weatherby Orion, so it's made by SKB in Japan. This is an incredibly lightweight, very pointable, easy to drive shotgun. Carrying around the woods all day, it is a dream because it's not super heavy, so you don't get fatigued. Even holding it up and shooting 100 to potentially 150 rounds, depending on what you're doing, you don't start to get shaky, you don't get fatigued, and it isn't 20 gauge, so it's super fun if I'm going out with a friend who is a little bit smaller statured or recoil sensitive to have a 20 gauge. Plus, you can shoot it all day long. So this is probably one of my favorite guns that I have shot recently. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. It has the slimmer forend as opposed to the current Weatherby Orions. I haven't shot a new Weatherby Orion. I would like to, but none of my friends own them, so we'll get there one day. The other thing that I always bring is I use the belt clip shell carrier pretty often, especially when it's warm. Here in Wisconsin in the summer, it's hot, it's humid, so sometimes wearing a vest is a little bit too much, but I do like a Clays vest. This one is from Cabela's, just a basic mesh back. You can put a recoil pad in the shoulders. It has spots for either extra shells or choke tubes, regular pockets for your shells, and then a dump bag for spent shells if your range doesn't have waste bins next to the stations. Most places that I've been, they do have a place for you to dispose your spent shells, so it's generally not an issue. But either way, just always dispose of your spent shells. It's just a nice thing to do. It keeps the range clean. Another method that I like of carrying shells, if I'm doing high volume shooting, is actually inspired by all of the outdoor channels that I watch and follow over in the UK. They do a lot of driven game shooting. So I do also have a cartridge bag which holds, I believe this one is a 200 round, which is excessive for sporting clays. Generally, you're only shooting 50 rounds, but some days the range that I go to will do simulated driven hunts, which is just they used to stand in a line and they throw just clay after clay over the top of you. So you want to make sure that you have extra ammo. It's also nice because when I go, I don't have to bring, a case of shotgun shells. I can just dump them all in here and pick how many I want when I want them. These can be super pricey if you kind of just do an initial search for them. A lot of times companies like Holland and Holland and Purdy will come up making these. They're full leather. They are gorgeous. But this one I want to say was like $30 or $40 on Amazon. You can also find kind of middle of the range shell carriers from even Beretta, Jack Pike, stuff like that. So I do enjoy those, especially when I do those simulated game days, which happen not as often as I'd like being here in the US, but when it does happen, it's a lot of fun, and this is definitely necessary. The other thing that I always make sure that I have is a very comfortable pair of boots. Normally I wear a pair of Jim Green African Rangers. It's the most comfortable pair of leather boots that I've owned probably ever. I've owned them for about 5 or 6 years now. They have withstood hiking the Rockies in Colorado, to the weather over in the UK. Wore them to Scotland, walked around Loch Ness and all that stuff with them. The other pair that I always bring, because you never know what the weather or the range is going to be like, is I always wear a pair of wellies. So keeping your feet dry is going to be important. And the pair that I like to wear is I wear the Hunter Balmoral, I think the model is, welly boot. Just incredibly comfortable Vibram sole, as long as the side buckles. So if I really need to crank them down, I can crank them down, make sure they're nice and tight, just to keep some warmth in. So footwear is big. Like I said, you do a lot of walking in sporting clays, so it is important that you are comfortable as well. So I have all that gear. Now you need something to transport it all. For the longest time, I used to just throw everything in a backpack or just like a crate in the back of my car. Again, this is not necessary. It's just what I like to use. It's a recommendation. It makes things a lot easier because you can kind of just keep it in your garage or your basement or your office or wherever if you work from home. And you can just grab it. You have everything in there. And that's just a decent bag. I use a canvas tote. It's flat bottom, so I put if I'm using fresh ammo, I put all the boxes in the bottom. I have everything from all of my eye and ear protection in there, extra pair of socks, extra layer of clothes. I keep my choke tube wrenches, a cleaning kit. Pretty much anything that I could need goes into that bag. That way everything is in one location. And if I know I forgot something, if it's not in the bag, I don't have it. Oh well. From the beginning, like I said, you don't need a lot to shoot. It's just nice to have some of this other stuff. So that is all the gear that I use. And then if you've seen me shoot, if you've shot with me, I like to kind of dress a little bit, I'm going to say sportier than most people at the clays range. A lot of times everybody will just be wearing jeans and a t-shirt and their clays vest. I like to wear kind of a nice button up, something light and flowing like this Oxford. It keeps me cool. It doesn't restrict my motion. I have had some shooting shirts that as soon as I moved my arms forward to mount a gun, I could feel how tight it was in the back and it just restricted my movement. So make sure that you're wearing something that doesn't restrict it. I also occasionally, especially during the fall, I'll even go as far as a shirt and tie just because I like the look of it. It looks classy, it looks clean, and it kind of looks like I'm putting in a little bit more effort for the respect of the sport. And then I'll generally just wear jeans or a comfy pair of like corduroy or moleskin pants. Especially if it's a little cooler, I'll go more towards the corduroy or the moleskin because they do keep you nice and cool, and you are out there for a while, and it does tend to get a little chilly. later on in the year. So just being as comfortable as possible is important to me, as well as looking good while doing it. Alrighty, so we've covered basic gear. We've covered gear that I like to use. Now I'd like to talk about stuff that I wish I knew when I was starting, kind of tips, tricks, how to get the best experience out of sporting clays as possible. The biggest one is when you first walk up to a clays range, depending on where you're going, it can be a little intimidating. Some of these facilities are incredibly nice. They look like golf courses. They have clubhouses, they have bars, full restaurants, pro shops, stuff like that. And it can be intimidating because it is incredibly nice, kind of well put together atmosphere. And the most important part is every range is there for the same reason. It's there for you to shoot, to have fun, to be comfortable, and enjoy your experience there so that you come back. So if you walk up and you're feeling intimidating, like you don't belong there, you are absolutely welcome. That is, I remember the first time that I walked up, I was pretty much shaking in my boots because it was a gorgeous, gorgeous clubhouse. Everybody was walking around with top of the line gear, and I'm walking around in a camo hoodie and an 870, and I felt out of place. But it was a fantastic experience. So just remember that you are at a range. It's the most important part. You're there to shoot. So is everybody else. Everybody has their different way of doing things. So just go in, have fun. The other is, especially just starting out, or you've been a couple times with a friend and you want to go out on your own, do not be afraid of asking questions. Everybody there, almost everybody there, is the nicest person that you will probably meet at a range. I've been to rifle ranges and pistol ranges, indoor, outdoor, stuff like that. And every time you try to ask, oh, what's that gun? Oh, can you help me with this? You do kind of meet some like, I'd rather not. With sporting clays, it's kind of a social event. You'll see big groups who are there, they haven't met in a while, or you'll see two people, or four people who don't look like they belong, but they, were talking at a stand while they were waiting for it, and then they just decided to shoot a match together, and they've never met in their life. It's probably one of the friendliest group of people in the shooting sports that I've ever met. So don't be afraid to ask questions if you need help, if you don't know which stand to go to, you don't know how to shoot, the stand, you're having issues with, any of your form or anything like that. Most of the time, I would say 98 to 99% of the time, people are going to be incredibly helpful and willing to help you out, kind of talk you through it and everything like that. So just don't be afraid to ask questions, especially if you are, with your friend, you've been a couple times, you've shot trap and skeet, and you're going out and there's these places do get busy. So if you're waiting at a stand and somebody who comes up and it looks like they've been doing it for a while, if you ask them to, watch your shots, and if they have any, tips or suggestions on form or anything like that, to kind of improve your skill, most of the time people are going to be pretty open in that, and they will help you out. And I've learned so much from doing that, from keeping one eye open versus two eyes open, which it works best. Well, it depends on the situation and the gun that you use and your personal preference. What's the best place to break the clay on this particular course, especially if it's a brand, like if you have not been to that range before. Asking that help, you're gonna break more clays and you're gonna enjoy it more. Which then brings me into probably my most important tip for anybody, especially somebody younger, somebody, in college or just getting out of college who's, becoming an adult and finding their hobbies. If you don't have fun in doing this, then you're not doing it right. And that's going to be that's a little aggressive, but it's true. It does feel good to shoot, 80%, 90% of your targets. But if you didn't have fun while enjoying it, it does kind of just feel like a job. So go out there and have fun. You're going to miss targets. You're gonna have days where you don't shoot well. There are gonna be days where it's cold, wet, and miserable. Find a group of people or tag along with somebody at the range, meet new people, have fun conversations, and just enjoy your time. You know, it could be, you could be a social butterfly and having fun. You could care less on what targets you shoot, but if you met somebody and you had a fun conversation, then that's it. That day's a win. For me, it's going out there and, you know, shooting a couple targets, meeting people, but it's also being able to express what I like to do in the outdoors, which is, and, you know, how I like to do things, which I like that kind of, you know, English or European style. I love wearing the tweeds. I love wearing the ties, the flat caps, the shooting the double guns, all that. And at first I felt like I was going to stick out like a sore thumb. Like, why is this guy wearing, you know, a shirt and tie to sporting clays with a flat cap wellies? Like, I look like I belong on a peg on a driven hunt. Nobody cared. Nobody cared, because everybody is there just to shoot. They don't care what you look like while shooting. They don't care how you shoot. Just shoot and have fun. So, yeah, go have fun. Take, you know, what I've suggested or something like that. Watch YouTube. There's a whole bunch of probably much better videos on sporting clays and what to do. I learned a lot from watching TGS Outdoors and a lot of the segments that he did shooting with Ed Solomons over in the UK. But go out, have fun. It doesn't take a lot. You just need a shotgun, some ammo, a good pair of boots, and just the willingness to kind of explore a new discipline of shooting. If you've been in the outdoors and you shoot rifles all the time or you shoot pistols all the time, take the step. You know, take your hunting shotgun out and just go have fun. It doesn't take a lot. You can definitely make it as nice as you want, like I do. So my message is just get out there, experience something new, don't be too intimidated, and just enjoy the outdoors. And I guarantee you, you'll have at least something to talk about and probably a smile on your face.